So I wanted to talk a bit about GTA 6 today. I know, it's hardly like the entire planet is talking about it already. But I've been playing a ton of GTA 5 recently, and it's got me ever so slightly concerned about GTA 6, mainly on the multiplayer side. I think we can all agree that 5's single player was pretty great, same with every GTA I've played. But the state of GTA 5 online is it's mixed at the moment. Don't get me wrong, it's still great fun. I still play it a lot. And the sheer number of cars they've added over the years is awesome, especially the ones which you can customize at Benny's. The driving in GTA Online is just brilliant as well. I think they really nailed the balance between how fast the cars are, how fun they are, how realistic everything is. It's not overly realistic. You can just play it with a controller or a keyboard and mouse and it feels absolutely fine. You don't need to like plug a wheel in or anything, which is nice. And it's quite arcadey style, but you still feel like you have a good bit of control over the cars and everything. I think they've absolutely nailed the driving, and I think that's something which a lot of other games struggle with. It's hard to make a car feel genuinely fast in a game without making it impossible to control and handle, but I think they really thought this through in 5. Almost every car, regardless of acceleration and top speed, is still actually usable, which is just nice. But of course, for every yin, there has to be a yang. And that's where my concerns come in for GTA 6. You see, GTA 5 sort of evolved into kind of a live service game, which is pretty unusual for a game that you buy once and don't really pay for again. If you weren't aware, live service games are just games that get constantly updated with new features and content years, or in GTA's case, decades after the game actually released. GTA doesn't quite work in the same way as other live service games, luckily, since there is the ability to just play locally and play with your friends peer-to-peer, I think. Meaning even if Rockstar stops working on 5, it's going to remain playable, which is more than can be said for a vast majority of other live service games. Also, obviously, there's things like 5M, you can do role-playing and everything, so even if Rockstar just abandons GTA 5, the game isn't just going to be completely abandoned and unplayable. Unlike a lot of live service games, like The Crew, for example, it was the open world racing game Ubisoft made a few years back. If you want to play it, well, good luck, because Ubisoft just straight up deleted the game. It's gone. Even if you have the disc, it's just completely unplayable. How messed up is that? So yeah, luckily GTA 5 isn't that bad, but live service games have a unique issue, which is simply bloat. As a game gets years and years older, and developers just keep adding more and more content to a game, it becomes bloated and just filled to the brim with extra missions and content. I don't think Rockstar were anticipating just how long GTA 5 was going to be milked and just how much extra content was going to be crammed in, because genuinely, the game has so many bloody online missions that at this point in 2025, it is just baffling to try and work out what to even do. I mean, you've got offices, motorcycle clubs, there's casino stuff, heists, drug missions, gangs, nightclubs, exports, the list goes on. I mean, there's so many things you got to try and keep up with. And the phone calls, my God, the phone calls are just unbearable when you log in for the first time in a while. Random characters will just buzz you for 10 minutes straight, and there's just stuff popping up on the top of your screen, on the left, on the right. It's just, you're just being bombarded with notifications and adverts, and then they tell you to buy GTA Plus. It is overwhelming. Seriously, if you haven't played GTA 5 for a few years, go and join an online lobby and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's really annoying, and I think, as I say, a big part of this is simply because the game's UI wasn't designed for the sheer amount of stuff they've crammed in. But nevertheless, it is an annoyance. So, assuming based on the success of the format of 5, they do something similar with 6, where it's just constantly updated, I really, really hope that they've thought out how they're going to organise all of this content, because my God, is it a problem in GTA 5. I mean, GTA 6 is the most anticipated game, scratch that, the most anticipated thing ever. And with the billions of dollars that they've spent on the game, they're gonna have to find a way of keeping players coming back for years and years, which of course in 2025 means taking the Fortnite approach and just constantly adding new stuff. I can 100% guarantee this is going to be the case. I don't see any way that they're not going to just drop the game and abandon it until GTA 7 comes out. They're going to, every single week, every single month, they're just going to be adding new content. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we all love new content, but it just needs to be put into the game in a way that makes sense. That's all I'm saying. Because as someone who stopped playing GTA 5 years ago and recently came back, the amount of stuff in the game is just intimidating. There are so many menus and properties and missions and businesses and organizations and pizzas to deliver that it's just overwhelming to a new player, which is exactly the same problem other live service games have, like Fortnite, and even stuff like League of Legends, or Destiny 2 is another example. If you stop playing the game for even 6 months and then return back, the game could have changed so much that it's basically unrecognizable. So yeah, firstly, I'm just praying that they find a good way to organize everything in GTA 6, because the size of GTA 5 outgrew their menu system, in my opinion. I'm sure they'll probably do the smartphone / map based menu again, which is fine, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but they just need to add some kind of filtering system or just some kind of way of clearing the map up, because there's just hundreds of icons and contacts just covering everything in GTA 5. Like the map is really difficult to navigate around, especially if you're on a controller and you try and search for a specific thing and you're going through the menu and there's like 300 different things you can click on. It can take you like 10 minutes to try and like set the sat nav up to drive somewhere. So that's my first major concern. I'm almost certain this will be fine, and that's something that they will really have had a think about, but it is a bit of a worry, because content bloat can really sap the fun out of a game. Right, with that being said, we also need to talk about the second elephant in the room. I know, how do they just fit them both in a single room? Anyway, live service and multiplayer games cost money, like a ton of money. From running servers, which I'm almost certain they will be doing on a mass scale, to paying a ton of employees round the clock to constantly bug fix and work on adding new stuff to the game. The overheads on GTA 6 are going to be massive. They've already taken well over $1 billion gamble on the game. And, when you're spending well over $1 billion, you're kind of relying on GTA 6 being one of, if not the biggest games of all time. And to make sure that it pays off, they're obviously going to need to provide a great ongoing service to their player base. Now, everyone knows that one of the biggest issues with ongoing games is how you fund the continual running and development. Sure, they could and probably will charge an arm and a leg for the game itself, but how do you continue to finance the game after everyone on the planet has already bought it? Obviously, they're going to use microtransactions. In GTA 5, the big way that they continue to finance the running of the game is through shark cards. It's literally just money in the game. So instead of actually having to, play GTA, you can just get some money and then get whatever you wanted straight away. Now, shark cards are not cheap. Unless you're a spoiled rich kid or Saudi Arabian, they just don't make sense to buy for the average person. Like $1.5 million for £15, that's like $20. At that exchange rate, the car I just bought and upgraded in the gameplay in the background would have cost like $40. At that rate, I genuinely have no idea who is buying shark cards, because thankfully it's not actually that hard to get money in GTA 5. But there is a double-edged sword here. Whilst thankfully you don't need to buy shark cards to survive in the game, inflation has been a bitch to the Los Santos economy, and even average cars cost like $1 million now. GTA inflation is real, and your Maze Bank savings are becoming worthless thanks to quantitative easing from the Los Santos Federal Reserve. Basically what I'm saying is Rockstar decided that people had too much money, so to make people play more, or even better, buy shark cards, they made everything much more expensive over time, whilst also not increasing mission payouts at the same rate, making everything more of a grind to get. So even if you spent a ton of money on shark cards, from what I understand, if you didn't spend the money, you would have lost a load of value from things increasing in price. So yeah, spend your shark cards. But yeah, long story short, GTA 5 does have a slight whiff of pay-to-win mechanics in 2025, since you can just skip the grind and buy your way to riches. Now, what you absolutely should not do if you want a load of money is buy an account with $1 billion of cash preloaded for $20 off of like player auctions instead of spending $7,500 on shark cards. Don't do that. And I get it, they need to find a way to finance their outgoings on a recurring basis, and I think that's why GTA Plus isn't a bad idea. It doesn't break the economy by giving people billions of dollars or anything, but it does let you access some other exclusive content. And I think that's a good way of doing it. So, enough yap. Here's why I'm concerned about GTA 6 in the microtransactions side. Let's assume the player count is going to be absolutely astronomical, and it basically drains players from just about every other game on the planet. I think that's a realistic expectation. Let's also assume they're going to have some massive overheads to deal with. Servers aren't cheap. As a business who, at the end of the day, is looking to make as much money as humanly possible, the most logical thing for them to do would be to maximize the microtransactions in the game. Like, find the perfect balance where free-to-play scrubs aren't too upset and keep playing, whilst at the same time are constantly being nudged into coughing up more money. But something a lot of game devs have noticed over the years is that whales are the biggest source of profits, so I have no doubt they will have options to cater to these people. If you don't know, whales in video games is just like in crypto, it's the tiny percentage of players so obsessed with the game that they spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on it, making up for a majority of the revenue. I don't have the exact numbers on hand, but I'm pretty sure Clash of Clans makes like 80% of their revenue from the top 1% of paying players, and Rockstar obviously knows this. In the same way, I'm pretty sure most of Rockstar's shark card revenue will come from a tiny fraction of the game's player base. My concern is that they go overboard trying to create a microtransaction-centric economy, which just lets richer players pay to win, but on an obscene level. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they make it so it's easy to spend at least $10,000 on the game before maxing it out. Now, as I say, I don't have a problem with them looking for ways to make even more money. That's fine. But I think they should be doing it in a way that doesn't wreck the economy. Like, in my opinion, a better way than just giving pay-to-win players a massive advantage and letting them skip all of the difficult bits because, they just have the fastest car, so everything's easy. Instead of doing that and giving them an advantage based on how much money they spend, a better way would be a little bit like Fortnite, where there isn't actually an in-game advantage of spending money, but you do get to have some cool skins or whatever if that's what you're into. I genuinely think, based on skins alone, they could make billions and billions of dollars a year. Like, if they made really cool weapon skins or car wraps or weapon skins like CS, they can make a boatload of money whilst keeping the game relatively fair. I'm hoping they go down this route as opposed to the super pay-to-win, shark card-centric kind of method, but I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to go ham on shark cards. The other possibility with microtransactions, which would be really shitty, is if they lock a ton of content behind paywalls. Like, what if every time they add new missions or cars or anything, premium subscribers get to access all of the new content like 2 months earlier? I actually dread thinking about all of the downright evil ways that they could just turn the game into a complete mess and essentially force players to cough up. But yeah, I'm praying that they find some kind of balance where it isn't unbelievably broken and crap if you're not paying on an ongoing basis, especially since the game isn't exactly cheap in the first place. We're all assuming it's going to be at least $70, probably $80 or $90, which is a ton of money for a single game, especially if you're a teenager. But still, if we do the maths, Take-Two have confirmed GTA 6 has already cost well over $1 billion. And also, they haven't done marketing and things like that. So apart from dropping a couple of trailers, they haven't massively advertised. I think it's reasonable to say, for the sake of argument, their budget at the moment is $1.2 billion, but they're probably going to spend near enough $2 billion. Let's just say for the sake of argument, it's $1.2 billion. If you divide that by 80, that's still 15 million copies they need to sell just to break even. But that doesn't include the cut that game platforms make. For example, I think Steam takes around 30% or so. Plus you've got sales tax or VAT, and then if you're, releasing the game physically on discs for the PS5, you lose a cut to that. So many people are taking a cut out of that $80. And what you end up with is, Rockstar might be seeing half of that. So $80 turns into 40, again, this is back of a napkin maths, but suddenly we're talking about Rockstar needing to sell like 30 million copies just to break even. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that Rockstar have sold 215 million copies of GTA 5, with total sales from the game of nearly $10 billion. So I'm almost certain that they will sell at least 150 million copies of GTA 6 over time, even with the massively increased hardware requirements on PC, plus the increased price and the fact less people have newer gen consoles than previous gen, blah, blah, blah. But what you have to bear in mind is the ongoing costs. If they've spent 7 times more on the new GTA than the old one, they need to make way, way more money to maintain the same profit margins. And part of that, I'm almost certain, is going to involve a boatload of microtransactions. So what do you think? Is GTA 6 going to be the most expensive to play game ever? Or will they manage to keep it fair for non-paying players who just want to buy the game on release and have fun? I'd love to hear what you think down below.